Hey, how you doing? Ralph here. This is a super quick little video on how to create a course using Moodle. So first off, you'll need access to a Moodle server. I do highly recommend that you go out and set up a free account on Moodle Cloud. Now, what we're going to cover here is just sort of the basics of setting up a course, because we need a course, obviously, if we're going to move on to looking at quizzing and assignments and all of the different options that are inside Moodle. So from the home page here, wherever you are in your Moodle app, you're going to be looking for this administration. Okay, so it'll be under the administration tab. And go ahead and expand site administration. And then under site administrations, you're going to be looking for courses. Go ahead and expand courses here. And then select the link that says manage courses and categories. Now, I've already got some courses here. I've already got some categories made. If you want to create some categories for organizing your courses, certainly you could do that. You'll notice here that there is a link to create a new category. Focus on here is just kind of the basics of creating a course. So I'm going to go ahead and select my miscellaneous here. It's got some different courses in it, and then I'm going to go ahead and select the link to create a new course. Pretty straightforward, but there are a few things that, of particular interest here that I wanted to highlight. I'm just going to call this my demo course, and I'll continue to use this as I create additional videos. Short name, and the short names will appear up here in the navigation. So you want to make something that, that makes sense here. When they say short, don't get too short. You want to, again, it should be something that is clear. So for my short name, I'm just going to go ahead and call it demo. Course category, you'll see that because I selected miscellaneous first, it's under miscellaneous, but I could change the course category here. Do I want it to be visible? And I don't need to give this an ID number. Now, the description would be accessible by clicking on the information link. So this should be something that explains a little bit about the course. This is a demo course. Description, and then if you want a graphic to appear along with the class, you can drop in a course summary file here. So typically this would be an image file. At least that's what I've always used here. The course format. So this is an important one. Now for me, I reuse my courses all the time. I create the course and then I have different groups going through. So I teach events that range anywhere from 1 week to to 5 weeks, but I continue to reuse the course content as I go. So the weekly format, that's a timeline format. If you're doing a one-off or something like that, it might make sense. But for me, the format that pretty much always makes sense for me would be the topics format. Now you'll notice here that there is also a single activity format. So sometimes I'll use that if I'm making like a practice test. So it's just one activity, it's just one, what Moodle would classify as a quiz. And so single activity format on occasion will make sense. But most of the time for me, it is topics format is the one that I use. I usually start with 10 sections and then just tell it to hide sections that are collapsed. Oh, where are we going here? Come back here. And the course layout, I typically like to show one section per page. My sections can get kind of long, and if you do everything on one page, then there's a lot of scrolling involved. It does change the navigation a little bit, but that's my preference there, is to show one section per page. Now, also under appearance, I don't really play around with this at all. I don't force language. I do typically let my students see the grade book. I want them to know, how they're progressing in the course. Files and uploads just sets the maximum upload size. If you wanted to reduce that, you could. 100 megs probably a little bit more than I need. So I'll drop that down to 2 meg here, and we'll see if in a future video that comes back to bite me. Completion tracking I always find to be important. I do want to be able to track completion for my different quizzes and activities in the class, and so I do typically enable completion tracking. In terms of groups, since I reuse my classes, I don't create a new Moodle course for every class. What I do is I create separate groups. Okay, so in the group mode here, I select separate groups, and so each of my groups is sort of going along, in their own separate group in the course, and that's a useful thing for me. Instead of recreating a new class every time, what I'll do is I'll just I create groups, and we can look at that later from an enrollment standpoint, and then just manage these separate groups through the course, because these courses may overlap. There might be two instructors, myself and someone else, teaching the same class, going through the class at the same time, but they will operate in separate groups. I don't typically do any role renaming, my word for manager, course creator, teacher. Don't really do anything with that. Certainly you could. And then when I select, you can select save and display or save and return. If I select save and display, what you'll see is the first thing that it's going to want to do here, after I have my my class set up, is it's going to want to enroll users. So in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and enroll myself as the manager of the course. You do also make yourself a teacher if you want. So I'll go ahead and manager. Let's search on Nyberg. Oh, there I am. Hopefully this is the right Ralph Nyberg. And then I'll also add my demo account, but this time I'll add my demo account as a student. I have this sort of habit of disappearing on you if you don't place yourself in a role for the particular course, and then you got to kind of dig back through the site administration to find the class. So that's probably a big step there. Make sure that you enroll yourself so you don't accidentally lose your access to your class. Now, if I select proceed to course content here, I'm ready to start setting up my class. So typically, the first thing that I would normally do here is, if you'll notice over here on the left, we have turn editing on. I hate that topic 1, topic 2, topic 3. And so the first thing I sort of do, initially is turn editing on. Okay, and that'll allow me to come over here to edit, and then I can select edit topic. And then normally I would, again, title it. Let's just call it, let's say that we're using lessons here. So, oops, deselect, use default section name, and then we'll call this lesson 1. Okay. Making a quiz. And then again, obviously we can type in a summary if we choose, and then we go ahead and select save changes. And so I would start outlining. Now, obviously I would document it. Now, typically the courses that I create are companion courses for classes that I'm teaching. So, the lessons or the modules, depending on the particular vendor I'm working for, have specific titles and things like that. But that gets us started. We now have a course. From here, we can start adding activities, resources, but we're going to save that for another day. But I wanted to show you the basics of laying out a course, and we've got that done. So hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for more.